Welcome back to Aliyah and Chill. I'm your host, and today we're diving into the wonderfully creative world of Israeli real estate agents, where spacious is a state of mind, renovated means someone once considered painting, and close to everything means you can hear the highway from your living room. Fair warning, this episode contains themes of spatial denial, financial trauma, and the gradual acceptance that a closet can technically be called a bedroom. So there I was, fresh off the plane with American expectations about apartment hunting. I figured I'd spend a weekend looking at a few places, choose the best one, and move in. How hard could it be? Oh, sweet summer child that I was. My first call to a real estate agent was educational. Hi, I'm looking for a 2-bedroom apartment in Tel Aviv. Budget? Around 8,000 shekels. Huh, very funny. You want comedy show or apartment? I'm sorry. For 8,000, you get very nice parking space. Maybe with roof if you're lucky. What's the actual price range for 2 bedrooms? You sitting down? Good. 15,000 minimum. 20,000 if you want luxuries like windows that open. I was getting my first lesson in Israeli real estate economics. Whatever you think you can afford, double it, then add your soul as collateral. My first apartment viewing was a masterclass in creative spatial interpretation. The listing said, "Spacious 3-room apartment in prime location." I met Danny, my real estate agent, outside a building that looked like it had seen better decades. "Beautiful building," he announced proudly. "Historic, very authentic Israeli experience." Historic was one way to describe it. Structurally questionable was another. We climbed 4 flights of stairs because the elevator was temporarily out of service, a temporary condition that had apparently lasted since the Clinton administration. Here we are. Danny threw open the door with the enthusiasm of a game show host. "Spacious 3-room." I looked around. The entire apartment was smaller than my former bedroom. Where are the 3 rooms? Living room, bedroom, kitchen? The kitchen is a hot plate next to the sink. Very efficient. Israeli innovation. No wasted space. The bedroom was technically large enough for a bed, assuming that bed was designed for someone under 5 feet tall. The bathroom was optimistic in its engineering. And look! Danny opened what I thought was a closet. Storage room. That's a broom closet. Storage room, very spacious. You can fit many things. Like a broom, many brooms. The neighborhood tour was equally enlightening. Prime location. Danny gestured toward the busy street. Everything close. What's that noise? Highway, very convenient. No need for alarm clock. And that smell? Character. Every neighborhood has personality. I learned that in Israeli real estate speak, character means mysterious odors, cozy means claustrophobic, and up and coming means currently terrible, but might improve by 2050. The financial requirements were particularly creative. For a 12,000 shekel apartment, I needed first month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit, 3 months, real estate agent fee, 1 month, building improvement fund fee, key money, contract preparation fee, something called good faith money, my firstborn child, negotiable. So to move into a 12,000 shekel apartment, I need to pay 84,000 shekels up front. Plus lawyer fees. For what? To make sure a contract is legal. What if I don't have 84,000 shekels? Then you look for cheaper apartment. What's cheaper? Parking space. Very affordable. Only 3,000 shekels per month. The application process was beautifully bureaucratic. I needed to provide 3 months of bank statements, employment contract, 3 personal references, letter from my rabbi confirming I'm not a troublemaker, proof that I've never been late with rent, impossible since I'd never rented in Israel, DNA sample to prove I'm responsible. Okay, that one was optional. But I just arrived in the country. I protested. Not my problem. Landlord is very careful. What if I can't provide all this? Then you sleep in airport. Very affordable. My second viewing was even more educational. The listing said, renovated luxury apartment with garden view. The renovation consisted of a fresh coat of paint over obvious water damage. The luxury was a toilet that actually flushed. The garden view was a glimpse of some weeds growing between concrete slabs if you stood on a chair and craned your neck. Beautiful view, Danny insisted. I can see half a dead plant. Garden, green space, very relaxing. It's mostly concrete. Very low maintenance. No gardening required. The landlord meeting was a cultural experience. Mr. Cohen, the owner, arrived looking like he'd rather be literally anywhere else. You American? He asked suspiciously. Yes, but I'm making Aliyah. Americans always complain. Everything too small, too expensive, too noisy. I'm very easygoing. That's what they all say. Then they want air conditioning that works, water pressure that doesn't require prayer, neighbors who don't argue at 2 a.m. Those seem like reasonable. Reasonable, he laughed bitterly. This is Israel. You want reasonable? Move to Switzerland. The contract negotiation was like diplomatic relations between hostile nations. Contract says no pets, no guests, no cooking smells, no noise after 8 p.m. and no breathing too loudly, I noted. Standard contract, Danny shrugged. What if I want to have friends over? Define friends. People I know socially? How many people? For how long? What activities? Normal socializing? Define normal. I was beginning to understand why Israeli rental contracts were longer than most novels. The apartment hunt continued for weeks. Each viewing taught me new creative interpretations of basic concepts. Bright equals one window facing a brick wall. Quiet neighborhood. Only moderate construction noise during sleeping hours. Move-in ready equals bring your own plumbing. Charming original features equals nothing has been updated since 1973. Great investment opportunity equals overpriced and falling apart. Perfect for young professional. Too small for actual furniture. The turning point came when I met Michal, a different agent who actually spoke truth. Listen, she said. This market is crazy. Everything is expensive. Everything is small. Everything needs work. But I'll show you places that are honestly described and reasonably priced for what they are. What's the catch? No catch. I just prefer repeat customers over one-time victims. Finally, someone who understood that long-term business relationships matter more than immediate commissions. Michal showed me an apartment that was exactly as advertised. Small but functional, expensive but fairly priced for the market, in a building that was old but maintained. Bedroom fits a double bed, she said. Kitchen fits a person and maybe a cat. Living room fits furniture. Or people, not both simultaneously. Neighborhood is noisy but safe. Questions. When can I sign? You sure? You want to think about it? Negotiate impossible improvements? After 3 weeks of creative real estate fiction, I'm ready for simple honesty. 6 months later, I realized I'd learned the most valuable lesson about Israeli real estate. It's not about finding your dream apartment. It's about finding an apartment that doesn't turn into a nightmare. My place is small, expensive, and occasionally the upstairs neighbors sound like they're training for Olympic wrestling. But the roof doesn't leak. The heat works. And Michal still returns my calls when things break. In Israel, that's basically winning the real estate lottery. That's all for today's episode of Aliyah and Chill. Remember, Israeli real estate teaches you that home isn't about square footage. It's about finding a place where you can afford the rent and the structural integrity is mostly guaranteed. And hey, if navigating Israeli real estate while maintaining your sanity and bank account sounds impossible, maybe it's time to call Easy Aliyah's VIP concierge service will help you find agents who speak truth instead of creative spatial poetry. Until next time, keep your expectations flexible and your budget high. You're gonna need both.